Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We talk to people that walk the walk, talk the talk, been through all the things that we experience as small business owners, come out the other side, willing to share those experiences and skills with us so that we can be more proficient, better business owners. So thank you very much for joining me. I appreciate your time. Anyone that shares the time with me, shares the time with our audience, is willing to help us learn something is super greatly appreciated. So thank you for that very much.
My
Also, just
pleasure.
for you guys listening, I had to move this around kind of last minute, and you were super hospitable with me. Using some of your time and switching some stuff around. So that was very, very kind of you as well. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Sure. So my name is Elissa Brewster Langston, and I am an attorney in the Houston Metroplex in a suburb called Sugarland. I have a law firm, and it is called Brewster Law Firm, and we do business, healthcare, and estate planning.
Nice. Tell me a story. Are you one of those I want to be a lawyer when I'm little lawyers, or how did this kind of come about in your life of getting
Oh,
where you
that's
are?
that's a good question. I wanted to be a lawyer when I was little. Essentially, and I guess I'm going to date myself with this, but my dad and I used to watch like 2020 Primetime Live, 60 Minutes. Like
Mm,
he's very much a news media junkie. And I remember watching some story and being very upset, and I was like, well, who would help those people? And he was like, an attorney. And I was like, done. So I think from probably 9 or 10, I knew that I wanted to help people. I liked the idea of kind of being in the background. I liked the idea of reading and writing. Those are two skills that I loved as a student in undergrad and in high school, and so I really enjoy. I get to write something every day.
nice. Well, tell me this. I guess this is kind of a two-part question here. But when
Okay.
you're doing law school, right, and you're in the throes, how do you navigate from exiting law school to finding the discipline that you want to practice?
Well, it is way different now. Okay. I've been out of law school for over 20 years, and I'm not exactly sure how it works now. But when I was in law school, you basically took whatever classes were going to be on your bar.
Oh, nice.
And I just recently learned that they've changed the bar exam. So
I think it's more
um,
standardized now, right?
I think so. I think so, which I think there's good and bad to that.
I think so too.
Um, so anyways, for Texas, or when I graduated law school, I wanted to work in house. I did not want to be a courtroom lawyer. And everybody was basically like, well, you have to work at a law firm first. Like, I literally just went with whoever offered me a job.
Sure.
It was really that easy or simple, and then who was going to pay me the most money to do that job, right? So my first job was insurance defense, at a medium-sized law firm here in Houston. And but now I hear that you can come out of law school with a specialty, and you can come out of law school and immediately go work in house, which
Yeah.
was blasphemy when I was in law school.
From
So
what I
it is,
understand, lawyers in law school are getting headhunted.
well, I'm sure. I'm
Like,
I'm
well,
I'm
I
not
guess maybe it's a
surprised at that.
competition thing too. Like, if you're in
Yeah,
Harvard, I'm sure that is a
yeah.
thing that is happening.
It's definitely going to depend on where you're in law school, and what type of law you're trying to go into. There's no shortage of lawyers. There's probably too many lawyers. So I generally, when someone says, "Oh, I want to go to law school," my first question is why? right? Because what it is and what you think it is are completely two different things.
Right.
And again, there's a lot of lawyers, and so because there's so many lawyers on the market, it kind of drives the price down. And it doesn't necessarily mean like all lawyers aren't created equal. So you have some that are like really detail oriented and focused, and some who are just trying to run the numbers,
Right.
and get as many clients or as much money or from as many people
Yeah.
as they
Just
can.
volume work. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
How did you transition into doing your own thing?
Um, I really got tired of working in corporate America. I was laid off, and I I just felt like I couldn't do it anymore. I've had every ism. And the majority of them in the most recent, like less than 10 years, a significant uptake in sexism and racism. And I was really over it. Um, and it was impacting my mental health, and just my overall well-being. And I figured, well, if I have my own law firm and that the person that you're talking to is a Black woman and you're good with that, then great. If you're not good with that, then you're not going to hire me.
Right.
And I'm good too. So that was really kind of the launching of of me being my own boss. It's just I can't do corporate America
Sure.
anymore. I'm over it.
And then the discipline, because you've obviously trying to escape insurance defense, at least from what I understand.
Yeah.
So is the reason you specialize in the things that you specialize in now is because that most directly correlated with the way that you wanted to help people, or is it because you're what you're really good at, or?
I think it's a little of both.
Oh, nice.
My mom is a nurse, so I'm the daughter of a nurse. That's what, like, always I start with that, especially if I'm talking to medical people. And she's still nursing. So I saw my mom own two home health agencies,
Oh, cool.
and just kind of the behind the scenes on what was going on with that. And then I was working for my very first healthcare provider, and basically knew a bunch of stuff that I didn't know that I knew.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I didn't realize that that was kind of like sitting back there. And then made the decision to go back to school and get a master's in healthcare administration. My parents are real big on education. I'm the daughter of immigrants. I'm a first generation American.
Oh, cool.
And so education is huge and really important. So got my master's, loved it. And then eventually went and got a certificate in health and hospital law, loved it. And for whatever reason, it was just clicking in my head, and it clicks fast. And I think I have a knack for explaining things in a way that uh, allows the people receiving the message to not feel intimidated, and to break down complex subject matter in bite-sized increments that
Yeah,
they can understand what it is that
absolutely.
I'm actually saying.
It's a skill escaping my generation as well. We are like the word vomit generation. We consume so much information and we want to over explain so many things to
Yeah.
people. It was definitely a detriment to me in the beginning of my sales career because I was probably the only person in the credit card processing industry that could tell you actually what happens when your credit card gets swiped on a machine, or the reason this happened. Like, and people didn't really care about those things or want to know those things, just didn't value that information. It was
Right.
the how does this impact your life? Like how does this impact what you do on a day-to-day basis with your business? So it was a skill that I had to learn as well, of just
Yeah.
taking that the perceived chore of trying to understand all these things that are getting thrown at you and trying to make them as simple as possible for people. How did
Yeah.
you transition into growing? So once you decided I'm getting away from corporate America, I'm going to do my own thing, and I have pinpointed this thing that I am really confident about. How do you go about growing a law practice? Because I know that there's some mixture when it comes to marketing that isn't the same for everyone. It's, do you
Right.
want to brand yourself with your face and your voice out in the world, or do you want to
Right.
market on the internet, or do you want to, I guess subcontract work out, or work with other law firms that have a need that aren't necessarily in their exact discipline? Like, how do you go about deciding the route you want to take, and how do you attack it?
So I do a lot of social media.
Cool.
I try to be as much of Elisa or authentically me as I can be, to make sure that my personality and traits come through. So the people that are either having a video call with me, or that see a podcast, or whatever that I'm participating in, that they get a sense of who I am. Um, in terms of advertising, it is tricky for lawyers, because we can't actively solicit.
Right.
And it's going to depend on your state. I'm in Texas. I did make a commercial. I had someone approach me to make a commercial, and they did everything. And I had to get, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm
You can
fighting
edit
one
that
off
out.
too. Yeah, I'll edit
Okay.
it for you.
Um, I had to get approval from the bar, and it's like the script, the video, the lettering, just all these different specifics that you don't really take into account when you're
Sure.
like watching TV or watching something and you see like a lawyer's commercial. But there's a lot that goes into it. And then even if I do radio, or if I do print, all of that has to be approved before I'm able to disseminate
Right.
that kind of stuff. So it's a lengthy process. Although I will say the bar has a pretty quick turnaround, quicker than I was expecting, but it is still involved. And I still get it wrong. And I'm like, what do y'all want? I don't
Yeah.
under, can you just say it in plain English what you need me to do?
What
So
I've learned is that the bar is not always like as difficult to work with as you think they are, and it's
yeah,
not quite as bad of like a moving target as maybe as
yeah,
it's perceived to be. But the
yeah,
penalty for being on the bad side of the bar is the ultimate penalty for your
yeah.
industry. It's
And
the
I'm not
worst
trying to
case scenario.
do that.
Yeah,
Mm-mm,
100%.
not me.
It's the death sentence for
Yeah,
lawyers of getting on the bad side of the
yeah,
bar.
yeah.
Um, okay, so talk to me about traction. Talk to me about where you were mentally when you had to kind of put your sales hat on and grow your business. What were your goals, and how long did that process take for you to start seeing, oh, we're making headway in the direction that we want?
I think I'm still kind of in that
Oh,
process.
cool.
I am not um like I'm a real good lawyer. That I can say, right? I know I'm a good lawyer. I've been doing this long enough. I'm not nervous about the legal stuff that I have to do. I would say the hardest part is everything else.
Right.
The client management, the like sales and SEO. I didn't even know what that was. I'm not even sure I still know what that is, right?
Me either.
And marketing, and why do I have to do it this way? And um, it's kind of, I don't want to say counterintuitive. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. You don't have to
Oh,
apologize.
oh my God. Um,
I think this is
I don't,
podcast like almost 700, and trust me, there's 100 podcasts of me fighting off a midday yawn out there.
Okay. All right. Then I don't feel so bad. But I would say that there's a lot of stuff that I still don't know. And I'm not one to kind of seek out the limelight. So it's hard for me to make content. And it's just because I'm not, like, that's not my focus. My
Right.
focus is not to be on camera and to be like, hey, see this new funny thing that I can do or whatever. Um, my focus is really to try to help people. And I'm like super passionate about that, especially in healthcare, making sure that people really understand how your business needs to be set up in order to be compliant, specifically in the healthcare realm. So it's a lot of trial and error, a lot of
Right.
error, a
Yeah, for
lot
sure.
of error.
Well, I can relate to that. And the reason that I wanted to have this conversation and bring this up in front of the audience is that it's very interesting how much information you are expected to retain in your field of law, right? Like you are designed by schooling to be this encyclopedia of information. And the real skill that you're learning is how do I make this information work for me, right? You
Right.
spend so little time, at least from my understanding, let me asterisk that I didn't go to law school. At the end of business school, I said, yeah, this is good enough for me.
I don't
The
blame you.
My best friend did it. My best friend did all the same classes as me, and he went to law school, and he is a lawyer, and good on him, and I love him to death. And he enjoyed his journey, but it just wasn't for me. I knew where I was at that point in my life, and I said, no, I can't commit more time to where I am. And what's interesting to me is he backed this up for me, and maybe that's a one-off thing. Maybe I don't know as much as I pretend to know on the podcast. Actually, that's 100% true. But you don't learn a whole lot of business acumen in law school, which is very interesting to me because I went and interviewed lawyers at the law school of my alma mater and asked people, what are your plans? And it was probably a coin flip whether someone's end goal, or maybe a coin flip with three sides, but like people want to equally either work in-house at a large law firm or medium-sized law firm, or people want to do their own thing, or people want to be a litigator, or they know the title that they want to have and they're willing to walk the road that it takes to get to that title, right? They want to be a DA or they want to be whatever that may be. So what was interesting to me is just how little business time those people spent learning general business acumen. How do I use some of these systems? What am I allowed to do with marketing? How do I interact with my clients? And how do I set expectations for those people? Because I didn't get any of that either. And I went to business school. I learned nothing about the day-to-day operations of a business. Can I walk into a business and give you a pretty accurate guess of EBITDA and financial holdings? Like, of course, now and the payments world, I can probably tell you their average ticket and what their volume's doing. I can tell you probably what their rent is, because those are the things that I learned, and they had no tangible application to the career that I chose. And 10 years later, I'm realizing how frequent that is in so many different industries. Trade school is the same way. Trade school will teach you a trade. Teaches you nothing about being a business person. And
Yeah.
the other thing that you said that I really enjoy is this podcast goal is not to seek out the limelight. While being a viral sensation, bestseller, front of the bookshelf seems cool, I think that being the encyclopedia in the back of the library that is this, basically infinite amount of information that you can get from some 300 or 400 hours of content we've put on the internet of different industries, different people in different places geographically, different places monetarily, and we learn how they navigate these issues and these things that are constantly popping up in their business so that they can be the best version of themselves. That's what I think is very, very interesting, because we all navigate, no matter how many books you read, we're all going to navigate these problems, especially from an entrepreneurship perspective, uniquely of the person experiencing the exact same things right beside us, which I think is very, very cool. There's not one way to solve this problem. There's not one way to skin the cat. There's so many different ways to get where you want to go. And so I applaud you for taking that path. It's not easy. It's not easy to make changes. It's not easy to make changes when you've been in the same place for a while, or you're getting paid a lot is the biggest thing that I see is you're making a bunch of money. It's really hard to roll the dice in another direction. So I applaud you for your passion and for your progress. It's very, very cool to see because I know how difficult it is from 10 years in my industry. Where do you go from here? What are your goals? What can we as an audience help you do?
I would say my goals are to continue to grow. I have a passion for mentoring. Um, all the different places that I've worked, I never had a mentor. I I had to figure a lot of stuff out on my own. And I'm trying to pay that forward. I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I want to make sure that the generation coming up behind me feels like that they have the skills and because a lot of these soft skills are just that, right? Like a lot of this stuff I learned the hard way.
Right.
A lot of this stuff I learned from crying in the bathroom, calling my mom, saying, "What do I do now?" And her saying, "Okay, what happened? Okay, this is what you need to say." The only reason she knew that is because she worked for a large hospital system in the city of Houston. So I had my own kind of built-in career coach, and it wasn't until like maybe 5 or 6 years ago that I realized other people didn't have that.
Right.
And I'm like, why are you doing that? I guess
Yeah.
that is not going to get you the end result that you need. And I would find myself either quoting my mother or um, just
Right.
emulating her. And so that is a real passion of mine because I had to figure everything out on my own, like absolutely everything. And that's really hard.
Yes.
And some things I do think you do need to figure out on your own. But to have someone there to guide you and to explain, like, try it like this or ask this question. Um, so I think that's important. That's one of the things that drives me. Um, there are a lot of attorneys, and we all do different types of stuff. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions is that we're all rolling in dough, because I am not. I've never
Right.
been. Never, ever, ever. Um, and attorneys were kind of the cleanup crew. People come to you after they've tried to figure it out and save money. And then it's going to uh, normally require a lot more money
Right.
to fix whatever the problem is. And your Google search is not my Google search.
Yeah.
I tell that to people all the time. I know what I'm looking for. When lay people are looking for or using Chat GPT to draft a contract, they're putting in there what they think sounds good versus, do you know how you're going to get paid?
Right.
Do you know what's going to happen if they don't pay you on time? What if they end up being a crap client? How do you get rid of them? So I tell people I'm zombie apocalypse, the sky is falling, the world is ending. Like that's the area where I reside in. But everything I know is up here. So it looks easy, I guess. Um, but I do know that I'm pretty good at what I do. I write a real mean contract. I
Right.
do.
Well, I think that to talk, I think those two things are related almost. The mentoring side of things, like I can't imagine. I've been super blessed from a mentoring perspective. Um, I can't imagine selling a tangible product or a very high ticket service without someone to ask questions with. I think about how many times it must have happened where someone comes to your house with the intention of fixing a problem for you or building something for you or helping you with something, and from a business perspective something goes awry, but you're already thousands of dollars invested into this interaction with a customer, and it's
Yeah.
very difficult for me to wrap my head around the idea of not having someone to point you in the right direction before you are trying to take that next step into
Yeah.
catching bigger fish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's super
Yeah.
intimidating to me.
When I was a baby lawyer, um, well, my first legal job I got in '03. Okay. And I was the only Black person in that firm.
Wow.
35 attorneys, number of paralegals, admin, legal secretaries, copy people. I was the only Black person.
That's wild. In Houston, right?
Yep, in 2003.
And you went to
And
college in Houston?
I went to I went to UT,
Oh, cool.
University of Texas in Austin, and then I went to um, New England School of Law in
Oh,
Boston.
cool.
And but I'm from here.
Yeah.
Like I'm a product of Fort Bend. I went to a local high school, local middle school. Like I am from here. And um, I would call my friends and say my boss would come in and say, I need you to do this discovery. I have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would call my friends and say, what is this? And I had a real good friend. She lives in San Antonio now, but she literally lived around the corner from me or worked around the corner from me. And I would call her crying. What am I supposed to do? I can't call my parents on this one because I'm the only lawyer.
Right.
And she would help me. I remember having to do a trial with absolutely no help.
Right.
I was getting books. This is really before like the internet is
Right.
how it is, how we know it today. You were
It
a
didn't
big
feel
wig if
like
you had a
information was
BlackBerry.
just right, right. Your information wasn't at your fingertips the way that it
No,
is now.
not the way it is now. And I remember buying books, and I had a friend, she did way more litigation than I did, and I was petrified. And I went to trial, and it was against a pro se, which means the other party did not have an attorney. I had to pick a jury. I was petrified,
Right.
but I won.
Oh, wow.
And for whatever reason, that did not compute in my brain that I must have been pretty good. That computed in my brain as do not ever do this again.
Right.
And like I think a lot of women, I think a lot of minorities I don't want to speak for everybody, have imposter syndrome. And
Mm-hmm.
I had a huge amount of that. And it wasn't until at the same law firm I finally got a black secretary, and I had to share her with like 4 or 5 other attorneys. I don't even remember. And she pulled me into my office and closed the door and said, "You're getting the short end of the stick."
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "Your attorney should be showing you how to do all of this and taking you to court and taking you to depositions." And somewhere in the back of my mind, I felt that,
Mm-hmm.
but I couldn't figure out why my attorney wouldn't take me places with her, or why the other attorneys in the office um, didn't want to interact with me. Because I don't look like you, I don't sound like you, I'm not your daughter, I'm not your nephew. There's no relatable trait.
Right.
So they just avoided me. And
That's horrible.
it really, um, that stuck with me. And then every other place I went to after that, I learned very quickly I cannot ask questions. I cannot ask for help because y'all didn't want to hire me to begin with. And so the minute that I don't know something, you get rid of me. I'm not allowed to make a mistake. So I have like severe PTSD, and those are my words, not anybody else's,
Right.
about working in corporate America. And I didn't realize it at first, but when you have to get rid of me by eliminating my position because you're not comfortable with me taking up this space, and then fuck, she's a lawyer too?
Right.
So you can't even like uh challenge
Right.
what I'm saying because you're not a lawyer.
Right.
And then like just I mean, I could go on and on and on with the number of places that I've worked where there's cards have been set against me to fail and I still end up succeeding. I worked somewhere where they refused to give me the title of general counsel, although that's what I was. They refused to give me an assistant. And once I did get one, and they realized that the assistant and I were working very well together, they took her from me. And I only had her once a week. What the hell am
Wow.
I going to do with
Right.
somebody once a week?
Right.
When I had someone who was the CFO that I was reporting to who absolutely was uncomfortable with me being there,
Right.
made sure I got let go. Oh, and then now you're having buyer's remorse because you all over my LinkedIn page,
Right.
not realizing that I can see every time you look at my LinkedIn page.
Right.
So I, that has colored me in such a way that I no longer, I'm not participating. I'm choosing not to participate.
Right.
And I feel like the advice that I was given for the generation before me, which would have been boomers,
Mm-hmm.
were just keep your head down and keep working. That didn't work. It did not work at all.
Right.
So now I'm trying to be more authentically me.
Right.
And if you don't like this, for whatever it is, we're good.
Right.
I'm good. But what's amazing to me is I literally have clients of all races.
Sure.
And, the white guys that hire me, they're like, oh, you're amazing. You're great. Right? I get Black people that come to me that are like, I wanted a woman of color. Awesome. I'll get South Asian people or Asian people. I wanted a woman. I wanted a minority. Awesome. Right? Because if you're looking at me and you're like, I don't know that she knows what she's doing, then don't hire me.
Right.
And I'm really okay with that. Because the last job I had people say, oh, I'm not meeting with you. I was the number 2 attorney. Oh, no, I'm not going to meet with you. Oh, no, you're being too aggressive because I know how to talk and articulate and stand up for myself. And I don't relish going back to that. And I think law school teaches you how to work for someone else. It doesn't teach you how to work for yourself. But at the same time, there are classes, and I did take a class, but I didn't know what the fuck I was doing.
Right.
Like, I was 24,
Right.
25. I had, it's like when you're gonna have a kid and you can read all the
Yeah.
books, you can watch all the videos until that baby is actually here, and you're like, okay, fuck, that didn't work.
Yeah.
This might work, right? And no two pediatricians are alike.
Not at all.
Your babies could be the exact same age, born on a different day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one pediatrician is like, oh, yeah, this is what you need to do. And the other pediatrician is like, absolutely not.
Right.
For me, it was kind of the same thing.
Sure.
So I just really want to pay it forward.
Sure.
I want to be able to impart what I know and give like somewhat of a safety net, because
Sure.
I didn't have that. A lot of my stuff was trial and error,
Right. Well,
just for
and
the lawyer part of it.
well, you applied learned behavior and your own personal skills to what is happening around you.
Yeah.
What was happening around you is not fair. I think that's a really, really cool. That's perspective that I didn't have.
What do you mean?
Well, I've never experienced okay, my story is I got out of college. I worked at like two other places. One was a manufacturing facility. They paid me a ton of money. Hated every second of my job. Then I led a landscaping company that was doing like large commercial projects, and my job was to organize a bunch of regular guys, blue collar guys, make sure that they're not driving an hour back from a job to get one pickaxe. Like I'm the problem solver and the glue of everything that is going around. Great mentors in both of those places. I came here. I've been here for 10 years. Great mentors here. And I never experienced the cards really being stacked against me, because the amount of money that the owners of the businesses that I worked for made was directly contingent on my own performance. So I didn't have, I've never thought about it that way. And I extend I am a lot like you in the fact that the things that I have found and implemented are learned behavior. Like I spent the first 4 years and some change of my career knocking on doors essentially every single day, because that was how my business built their business. I was taking the advice of the generation before me, and I was implementing it to my day-to-day life, and I was 20 or 21 or 22 or something like that, and I was knocking on doors every single day, and boom, some yeses, some nos, but I was on autopilot, right? Like I was just I was hitting the metrics that we agreed would create success for me, and I did a good job. The interesting thing about that is that when COVID happened, everyone around me was okay with reflecting on maybe not applying those same rules to our day-to-day activities. It's the only time in my professional career, probably for the rest of my life, that the uppers will come to the people lower on the totem pole in their business and say, help me solve these problems. I don't even know how to directly guide you guys to be successful in our industry. What are you experiencing out there? What is the good? What is the bad? How can we pump as much fuel into this fire as possible and really pressure test what we have going on? And so that was the first time in 2020 that I was like, okay, I'm getting asked questions like a decision maker. I'm getting asked questions like a business owner. I need to develop some of this business acumen. Once we put together this game plan, we have to hire some people that are below me. I have to be able to tell people what to do, and I have to be able to delegate things that I was so used to being close to my chest on a day-to-day basis. And it changed my life. It completely changed the way that I view my interactions with my clients, Financially made a huge difference. Emotionally, the amount of time that I was able to spend with my family was very, very different. So I extend that to you as well, is that I too am passionate about trying to help pass some of those skills along to people that shouldn't be put in a box based on what their perception of what they can or cannot do. It's unfair. I have met some people younger than me that are clients of mine that are uber successful, and I have met some people that are some of the brightest people I believe I've ever met in my life that don't have two pennies to rub together because they don't know how to apply their logic and reason to issues that they experience in their day-to-day life.
Yeah.
So I extend that to you as well. On the legal side, on the way to carry yourself side, on the navigating the day-to-day actions of your life, you're going to forget more than I'll ever know. On a way to present yourself in a business conversation, to be a 19-year-old kid with a beard that doesn't connect and be talking to 45-year-old men that have been in their industry for 18, 20, 25 years and be able to articulate, here's what you need to know, here's what you need to do, here's why I'm an expert. It's a difficult thing. It's a unique thing, and I went through it at a unique time in my life where I really didn't have a lot of I've never been the look around for other opportunities guy. That's just not me. I don't make other people in my industry compete for me, or I just don't do those things. I am loyal to the family and the people that in the system that I have developed here, and I think that there's some good and bad of that for depending on the situation that you're in. I just got really lucky by putting my money in the right bank account. I would love the opportunity to extend some of that acumen that I have not necessarily. I've learned a lot of it, I guess. I read a ton of books, but I learned through what you said earlier, which was a lot of trial and error and a lot of error. Like we spent a lot of
error.
we spent a lot of money and a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this ship go in the right direction. And it worked out because I'm with people that are resilient and willing to take chances and risk and take educated risk. And we learn from those things and we apply them to the thing that we do tomorrow. And I would love to extend some of those experiences to other people as well in whatever format that is. This podcast has been a way for me to kind of creak that door open. And I've never really kicked around the idea of making that more formal or finding a way to give back or sharing some of those anecdotes that I have, because I have so many. But it's very, very interesting. And I'll tell you this, you probably hear it from the people closest to you, but you've done something to be proud of. You've built something. What you do is very difficult, and people should tell you that they're proud of you. And I'm proud of you. And I appreciate like crazy you sharing some of that time with me, because I think our journeys are more similar than I realized. I think that I was a super poor kid with a couple of years of college education and a real good knack for dribbling a basketball, and I had to figure out how to make my life go around really, really early. And it's because of people like you that thought like you that I didn't realize that were willing to invest in me to make some of those things happen. So whatever that journey takes you and whatever direction you decide to go in and trying to disseminate some of that information, I would love to be a drop of gas in the engine of that thing. I would love to help with whatever that I can. And for you guys listening, please go listen to all the other episodes and save yourself some of the error. Business is tough and it changes every day, and every day I learn things that I need to implement in my own business and things that I need to be better at. And you mix those things with figuring out how to be a good dad and a good husband and a good every other title that you could ever aggregate in the world. Business is difficult, and it doesn't get any easier because you grow. It just gets more consistent. And when you get to that level of consistency, there are things that you can do that make this whole journey really, really cool. So thank you again. Your time and your presence and your information are super valuable to me, and I would love to help you with whatever I can help you with in the future. But for the audience, before we get out of here, how do people find you? How do they reach out to you? How do they call you? How do they buy something from you?
Of course, please find me. So my website is www.brewsterlawtx, like Texas.com. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook at BrewsterLawTX. I do have a YouTube channel. I believe it's the same. As you like, I am not like super savvy when it comes to like all of those kinds of things, but
I think you would be remiss trying to learn them. To be
Yeah.
honest, you'd be wasting your time.
Yeah.
They change the rules faster than we can learn them.
Facts.
Yeah.
These are facts. And I have a lot of podcasts
Oh,
that
nice.
explain some of the intricacies with businesses and specifically healthcare
Sure.
leading businesses. So
Well, thank you
please like and
again.
subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll share all of those things in the description of this video if you're looking for any of that stuff. Scroll down a couple of scrolls. This has been a really, really good conversation. It's been a really fun conversation. I love the energy that you bring. I love the way that you approach
Thank
your
you.
life, and I wish you the best. And I'd love to continue the conversation with you guys. We were just in Dallas a couple of weeks ago, actually. I'll be in Fort Worth in next week. So yeah, anytime that I'm around there, or I try to make it out to Houston, we'll let you know. I actually haven't been back to Houston since the Falcons Super Bowl in Houston, if you recall that one. Yeah, we were winning 28-3, and there was like 20 minutes left, and we lost.
That's a while ago.
Really scarred me.
You know, Texas is a ginormous state.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think people understand if you're going to be in Dallas, that's like 4 to 5 hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Maybe more. Yeah. Maybe. It depended on the time of the day.
Yeah. Depending.
But I'll try to make it out to Houston at some point and shake your hand.
Sure.
We'll be out there a lot.
I'd love that.
We travel west. I'm in Atlanta, so we travel.
Oh, right.
Yeah, we travel west a lot. But I love what you do. I'd love to be able to help them. For you guys listening, thanks for sticking around this long. Please like, share, subscribe, and burn the ship.